Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the idea of multi-step equations and how we actually solve equations when we have variables on both sides of the equation. Okay, so go ahead and follow along with your notes, and if you have questions as we go ahead and write them in the left margin of your notes so we can go over those later. To solve equations when the variable appears on both sides of the equation, you can follow this process. One, you're going to simplify each side of the equation by using the distributive property. And combining like terms. This skill of the distributive property and combining like terms we learned in notes number 20, so make sure to look back on that if you're not sure how to do that. The second step in the process is going to be to move all like terms to one side of the equation, and we're going to do that by creating zero pairs. So basically what we're saying is that we want all the variables on one side and we want all the single numbers. So like let's say you have 3x equals 5x minus 1. You want this 5x and this 3x to be on the same side of the equation, and you want the negative 1 to be by itself. Okay? And then finally, you're going to solve the equation using inverse operations. All right, so that'll be like a two-step or a one-step equation. Now keep in mind here, this is only one way to solve these equations. It is not the only way. I'm going to teach you one way. If you want to learn different ways on your own, or if you want to come ask me about different ways, that's totally fine. Okay, so let's get into the examples. Okay, so here's the first example. So the first thing that I want to do is simplify each side of the equation. Again, in my brain, I want to split up my equation right at the equal sign. I also want to think about what the variable is in this case, which is x. That's what I'm trying to figure out. What is the variable here? Okay, so when I see a number outside a set of parentheses, I actually know that I can distribute. Remember, distributing means to multiply by every term in the parentheses. So 3 multiplied by x, that gives me 3x, and 3 multiplied by negative 5, that gives me negative 15. Now I'm just going to bring down this right side of the equation. So that was my first step in the process. I've simplified each side, I distributed. I actually don't have any more like terms on the same side. Okay? So now I want to get like terms on one side. Alright? So it doesn't matter which side that they're on, but you want all of your variables, so all of your x terms on one side. Alright? So I want this 2x and this 3x to be on the same side. And I actually also want this negative 15 and this negative 1 to be on the same side. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. The way that I can move it across the equal sign is I need to take it away, right? If it's positive, I need to take it away. If it's negative, I need to add it. So I can start with either one. So I see this 3x, right? And I want it to be on the side of the 2x. To be able to move it, I'm going to subtract it, right? That means that I just got rid of it on this side. But if I get rid of it on this side, I have to get rid of it on the other side. Now notice, I'm not putting a negative 3x here, right? That's not what you want to do. You want to keep your like terms together. This 2x has an x term, this negative 3x has an x term. Okay, so what have we done now? Now we've created a zero pair. Okay, so now we've got negative 15 equals this 2x subtract 3x, that gives me negative 1x. And I still have this negative 1 that I'm just going to bring down. Well, actually, now I've in a situation where I'm just down to solving a problem like it's a two-step equation. So the third step, use inverse operations. So in this situation, I'm going to use SADMAP again. Right? And I'm going to start asking myself, I'm going to start on the side of the variable. Okay? So I've got negative 15. So let me rewrite this. I've got negative 15 equals negative 1x subtract 1. So again, I want to find my middle. Here's my middle. Where's my variable? Right here, it's the x term. So now I ask myself, do I see subtraction? I do. It's negative 1 multiplied by x subtract 1. I'm going to add this 1 because it's the thing being subtracted. This negative 1 is being multiplied. So then I add 1 on this side to keep things balanced. So now I've got negative 14 equals negative 1 multiplied by x. This becomes a zero pair. Do I have addition? No. Do I have division? No. Do I have multiplication? Yes. So I'm going to use the inverse operation, which is division, and divide negative 1 on both sides. That creates a 1 pair. So this negative 14 divided by negative 1 makes a positive 14. And then on this side, I just have 1x. So 1x. So my final answer is that 14 is equal to x, or that x is equal to 14. Alright, now I went through that step by step, and that took maybe a little bit longer because I just wanted to be explicit about everything. Let's try this next example. I'm going to go a little bit faster through it. Okay, so example 2. First, I want to find my middle. That's my equal sign. Next, I want to determine my variable. So I see m's, and that's my variable. Okay. Next, right, so my first thing is that I want to simplify each side. So I look on the left side. Is there anything that I can simplify? Yeah, I actually have the distributive property, and I have like terms. So this is what I want you to point out here. This says negative 2m subtract the whole quantity of 3 minus 5m. Whenever you see this negative by itself right next to a set of parentheses, that means there's an invisible negative 1 right here that needs to be multiplied. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that first. So negative 1 is going to multiply by 3, and negative 1 is going to multiply by negative 5m. So I'll have negative 2m. Negative 1 multiplied by 3 is negative 3. Negative 1 multiplied by negative 5m, negative multiplied by negative is a positive 5m. Okay, equals, nothing changes here, 6m add 9. Alright, so now I look back again. Is there anything that I can simplify that's on the same side of the equation? If I look at the left side, I actually notice I've got some like terms. I've got negative 2m and positive 5m. So actually, let me combine those before I move forward. So negative 2m and positive 5m, negative 2 plus 5 makes positive 3m. And then this negative 3 I'm just going to bring down. 6m add 9. Okay, 6m and 9 are not like terms, so I can't combine them. 3m and negative 3 are also not like terms, so I can't combine them. So now I'm on the second step of the process, which is to get all the like terms together on the same side. Okay? So I see this 3m and this 6m, right? But they're on different sides. So because they're on different sides, I have to make zero pairs. So I'm going to get rid of this 3m on the left. So then that way I have to keep it balanced and subtract 3m on this side. This makes a zero pair. So I'm left with negative 3 equals 6m minus 3m is positive 3m plus 9. Okay? Now, I'm down to a two-step equation, so I can use inverse operations. Okay? So I use SADMAP. I start on the side of the variable. I see 3m plus 9. Do I see subtraction? No. Do I see addition? Yes. The 9 is being added, so I'm going to subtract it. I have to subtract it on the other side now. So that creates a zero pair. So now I've got 3m and negative 12 on this side. Okay, so I keep going. Do I have division? No. Do I have multiplication? Yes. This is 3 multiplied by m. So I use the inverse operation, which is division. Divide 3 on both sides of the equation. That creates a 1m here. So now I've got negative 12 divided by 3. That makes negative 4 equals m. And that's my final answer. I have 1m on one side and a single number on the other side. Okay? Now here's the last example. Go ahead and pause here if you'd like to try this on your own. Otherwise, just go ahead and follow along with me. So again, I find my equal sign, I find my variable. In this case, it's r. First thing I want to do is simplify each side. Well, on the left side, I notice that I've got a number outside of parentheses, so I can distribute. Negative 2 multiplied by 4r, that makes negative 8r. Negative 2 multiplied by positive 6 is negative 12. And here I'm just going to bring down negative 1 plus 3r. So now negative 8r and negative 12 are not like terms. Negative 1 and 3r are not like terms, so I've finished simplifying. So now I'm going to do opposite sides for the like terms. So if I look on opposite sides, I notice I have a positive 3r and a negative 8r. Those are like terms. Let me keep my middle here so I don't get confused. Alright, but now to get them onto the same side, I need to use some zero pairs. So I'm going to make a zero pair with negative 8r. So now I have to keep it balanced and do it over here. So that creates a zero pair right there. So now I've got negative 12 equals negative 1 plus, I add these, 11r. Okay? Now, I'm down to a two-step equation. I can use some inverse operations using SADMAP. So now I think about what's being done to the variable. I see negative 1, add 11 multiplied by r. Okay? So actually the 11 multiplied by r is going to go last. So do I see subtraction? In a sense, you do, because you have this negative 1. Okay? So this negative 1, instead you're going to make a zero pair and add 1. And since you did that, you want to add 1 on this side. So you've got negative 11 equals positive 11r. These are being multiplied, so I'm going to use the inverse operation, which is division. This makes 1r, and negative 11 divided by positive 11 makes negative 1, which is my final answer. Okay, make sure to ask your questions and make sure that you go back to the video if you need extra help.